The night I finally asked my husband to try something new with me, it wasn't dramatic. There were no raised voices, no tears, no storm brewing outside our windows. It was an ordinary Tuesday, the kind that slips quietly into memory unless something shifts beneath the surface. And something did. We had been married for 8 years. 8 years of shared breakfasts, folded laundry, late-night conversations about bills and dreams, quiet apologies, and familiar laughter. From the outside, we looked steady, reliable, the kind of couple people pointed to and said, they figured it out. But inside me, a small question had been growing for months. It wasn't about love. I never doubted his love for me. It wasn't about trust either. It was about closeness, the kind that deepens, not fades with time. Somewhere between routine and responsibility, we had become efficient partners instead of intentional ones. That evening, he was sitting at the dining table with his laptop open, glasses sliding down his nose as he reviewed work emails. I watched him from the kitchen doorway, noticing the faint lines at the corners of his eyes. We were both older than when we first met. Life had shaped us. Work had tired us. But we were still us. I dried my hands on a towel and felt my heart race over something that sounded so simple in my head. Can I ask you something? I said. He looked up immediately. That was one thing about him. No matter how busy he was, my voice still pulled his attention. Of course, he replied, closing the laptop halfway. I walked over and sat across from him. For a moment, I almost changed my mind. It felt silly to be nervous. We had faced bigger things together. Family struggles, financial pressure, unexpected disappointments. Why did this feel so fragile? I've been thinking, I began slowly. When was the last time we did something for the first time? He tilted his head, confused but curious. What do you mean? I mean something new. Just for us. Not because we had to. Not because it was practical. But because we wanted to grow together. He leaned back in his chair, considering my words. The room felt very still. Are you unhappy? He asked gently. That question broke something open in me. Not in a painful way, but in an honest one. No, I said quickly. I'm not unhappy. I love our life. I love you. I don't want us to become people who stop discovering each other. He studied my face as if searching for what I wasn't saying. I feel like we've been surviving lately, I continued. Work, errands, responsibilities. We're good at handling life. But I miss choosing each other on purpose. Silence settled between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was thoughtful. Finally, he spoke. What are you asking me to try? There it was, the opening I had been hoping for. I want us to start having one night a week that belongs only to us, I said. No phones, no work, no distractions. We talk. We ask each other real questions. Maybe we try new experiences together. Cooking something unfamiliar. Learning something. Even just sitting on the balcony and sharing things we've never said out loud. He blinked, then smiled faintly. That's it. I laughed nervously. Yes, that's it. He reached across the table and took my hand. His touch was warm, steady. I thought you were about to tell me something much scarier. Like what? Like you wanted to move to another country, he teased. I shook my head, smiling. No, I just want us to move closer. Something shifted in his expression then. The humor softened into something deeper. Have I been distant? He asked quietly. The vulnerability in his voice caught me off guard. I hadn't expected him to turn the spotlight inward. Not distant, I said carefully. Just busy. And I know I have been too. He nodded slowly. I guess I thought being responsible was the same as being present. That sentence stayed with me. Responsible was paying bills on time. Present was noticing when your partner seemed quieter than usual. Responsible was fixing what was broken. Present was asking what felt heavy. We had mastered responsibility. Presence required intention. He squeezed my hand. What kind of questions did you have in mind? I smiled, feeling courage replace fear. Questions like, what's something you've always wanted to tell me but never did? Or what scares you about the future? Or what memory of us makes you happiest? He exhaled slowly. That sounds intense. Maybe, I admitted, but I think we're strong enough for intense. He looked at me for a long moment. Okay, he said finally, let's try it. I didn't realize until then how much tension I had been carrying. It melted away in an instant. Really? Really? Starting tonight? That surprised me. Tonight? He stood up, closed his laptop completely, and slid it into his bag. If we're going to do this, we don't postpone it, he said. What's the first question? My heart raced again, but this time with excitement. Okay, I said, thinking carefully. What's something you need more of from me, but you've been afraid to ask? He didn't answer right away. He walked to the kitchen, poured 2 glasses of water, and came back. He sat down across from me like we were at the beginning of something important. I need reassurance sometimes, he said finally. I blinked. Reassurance. He nodded. I know you love me, but there are days I feel like I'm failing. At work, at home, at being the man you deserve. And I don't always say it. I guess I didn't want to seem weak. His honesty filled the space between us like light. You could never seem weak to me, I said softly. I know that logically, he replied, but it's hard to admit when I feel unsure. I felt tears prick at the corners of my eyes, not from sadness, but from understanding. I wish you had told me sooner, I whispered. I wish I had too. It was my turn now. What about you? He asked gently. What do you need more of? I swallowed. I need to feel chosen, I said. Not assumed. Not automatic. Chosen. His eyebrows drew together. I do choose you. I know, I said quickly. But sometimes love becomes background noise. I wanted to feel intentional again. He nodded slowly, absorbing that. That's fair, he said. I don't ever want you to feel like a habit. We talked for hours that night. About fears we hadn't voiced. About dreams we had quietly set aside. About small resentments that dissolved the moment they were spoken aloud. At one point, he asked me a question that changed everything. If we met today, he said, with the people we are now, not who we were back then, would you still fall in love with me? The question stunned me. I looked at him carefully, really looking. The familiar face, the steady eyes, the man who had grown alongside me through mistakes and victories. Yes, I said without hesitation. Because now I know how you handle hardship. I know how you show up when things fall apart. I know your quiet strengths. I'd choose you even faster. His expression softened in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. I would choose you too, he said. Not because you're perfect, but because you challenge me to be better. That night didn't end with grand gestures. It ended with us sitting side by side on the balcony, wrapped in a shared blanket, talking about the kind of couple we wanted to be in 10 years. We started our weekly ritual after that. Sometimes our new thing was small. Trying a new recipe, reading the same book and discussing it, walking through a different neighborhood just to see unfamiliar streets. Other times, it was emotional, asking each other what we were afraid of losing, what success really meant, what childhood experiences still shaped our reactions. The more we asked, the more we understood. And the more we understood, the softer we became with each other. One evening, months later, he surprised me. He came home early and said, "Tonight's my turn to ask the question." I smiled. "Okay, I'm ready." He took my hands and looked at me with a seriousness that made my heart pound. "What can I do?" he asked, "to make you feel loved in the exact way you need right now?" Not the way he assumed, not the way he preferred, but the way I needed. That question changed everything. Because love isn't static. The way I needed to be loved at 25 wasn't the same as at 33. And he was willing to learn the difference. "Listen when I overthink," I said after a moment, "even if it seems small. And remind me that we're a team." He nodded. "Done." "And you?" I asked. "What makes you feel most loved right now?" He smiled faintly. "When you notice the things I try to fix quietly." I laughed softly. "I notice." "Say it," he replied. So I did, and in that exchange, something beautiful happened. We stopped assuming and started asking. We stopped guessing and started listening. The question I had been afraid to ask months ago, when was the last time we did something for the first time, had led us here. To a place where curiosity replaced complacency. Our marriage didn't transform overnight into something unrecognizable. It deepened. It steadied. It warmed. We still had stressful weeks. We still disagreed. But now we had a habit of turning toward each other instead of away. Looking back, I realized it wasn't about trying something dramatic. It wasn't about changing who we were. It was about remembering that love requires participation. It requires questions. It requires courage. And sometimes, all it takes to change everything between two people is one simple question asked at the right time. That Tuesday night could have passed like any other. But instead, it became the beginning of a new chapter, not because we were broken, but because we were brave enough to want more than just fine. We wanted intentional. We wanted present. We wanted chosen. And now, every week, when we sit across from each other and ask, "What's something we haven't talked about yet?" I'm reminded that the most powerful transformations rarely begin with grand declarations. They begin with a quiet voice saying, "Can I ask you something?"